Good afternoon, good morning, whatever time it is you're joining from. Welcome. I'm pleased you're here. I suspect you're here because you're wondering what is an imaginative leadership program all about? And I want to talk to you a little bit about that today. So my name is Dr. Gillian Judson. I'm the overarching coordinator and supervisor for the Imaginative K-12 Leadership Masters of Education degree at Simon Fraser University. And I want to introduce today the key dimensions of this program and just what this imagination piece is all about. A really important piece for me is identifying the many misconceptions about imagination. And for the next 5 minutes or so, I want to indicate what you'll be learning, some of the misconceptions about imagination that scholars are overturning, and just the increasing importance of imagination in leadership work. So we all come with ideas and conceptions, and I encourage you to pause for a minute and think about what comes to mind when you hear the word imagination. If you're like most people, you might think of invention or inquiry or creativity. Perhaps you think of the greats, great artists, great scientists, great mathematicians, or perhaps you think of a hint of magic, perhaps the fantastic and the unfamiliar, perhaps glitter. I know that if you Google images of imagination, you get so many images of children, of the arts, unicorns, and glitter. So, what does it matter? Well, it really matters what we think about imagination because our beliefs shape our actions. If you misunderstand imagination, and by misunderstand, I mean take one fraction of imagination, for example, the imaginary life of a child, and apply it to all imagination can and is for humankind, you might leave it out of your leadership work. You might leave it out of post-secondary teaching. You might leave it out of all kinds of contexts. And so what we do in this program is indicate very, very clearly what imagination is and does and how it supports the most effective leadership. Imagination is not only the possession of the few greats. We all have an imaginative capacity. If we didn't, we wouldn't get through day to day. It is not a waste of time for adults. It is not only child's play. It is that, but that's not all imagination is. It's not just an arts thing or fantasy, make believe, and it is absolutely not only detached from reality. If we believed this was all imagination was, it would be no wonder we do not consider its value in the boardroom or in other contexts. In this program, we learn how imagination is storytelling and story listening. It is metaphor and conceptual play. It's what-ifing, mental imagery, exploration, bodily engagement. It's empathizing. It's systemic thinking. It's the ability to envision and feel the possible in all things. And part of your work in this program will be to deeply understand how imagination works in your life and in your leadership. It is certainly at the heart of all learning and is the key to meaning and memory. It's definitely required to create a socially and ecologically just future. If you're the person who wants to work toward that as a leader, you need imagination actively in your toolkit. So what are some ways in which imagination does support leadership? In other words, what are the capacities of a leader that come out of imagination? Well, one is understanding what imagination does for us is to understand what it is. It helps us understand the current situation. It helps us understand the stories of those we lead. It also helps us understand our own context. So understanding what is for ourselves and others, conceiving of what could be, envisioning, possibilizing. It's crucial in cultivating ethical communities, and it's crucial in being an engaging leader. Imagination gives us all kinds of tools to be good storytellers and to make the messages we're conveying powerful and memorable. Really, I like to describe imagination as the soil out of which all creativity and innovation grow. So how as leaders do we cultivate that in ourselves, and do we cultivate it within the communities in which we're serving? One of the things that's very unique to this program is we're very, very practically looking at imagination, and we're connecting it to a pedagogy called imaginative education that was initially developed by the late Dr. Kieran Egan of Simon Fraser University and has been developed ever since through the Imaginative Education Research Group and through CIRCE, the Center for Imagination in Research, Culture, and Education. So we're not just talking about imagination, we're talking about actual tools, cognitive tools that leaders can use to cultivate it in themselves and in others. So again, what's unique about this program? You're going to gain knowledge and skills to be an innovative and transformative leader. You're going to learn how to employ practical tools to cultivate imagination within in your school community, not only as a leader, but to be an instructional leader in your work. And you're going to engage in empirical research, individual empirical research that will be published in the library. And there's many more interesting dimensions of this program. I hope you look it up. What I wanted to provide you today was a little hint about that imagination piece because I know you're curious. So if you'd like to learn more, I invite you to visit the Imagine Education that inspires.ca website. This is a blog which disseminates and shares all kinds of imagination focused work, pedagogy, K through post-secondary, and leadership. I invite you to get on Spotify or Apple Podcasts and look up the Cultivating Imagination Leading Toward a Just Future project, in which you'll hear from world-renowned leaders talking about how and why imagination is important for social and ecological justice. This is that website again, cultivateimagination.ca. You can look that up to get podcasts and blogs and resources and just get a sense of what would that mean if you became a student of imagination and the role of imagination in leadership. I do want to leave you with the idea that imagination is not bubbles and glitter and unicorns. It's actually the soil. It's the soil out of which all innovation and change grows. Again, my name is Dr. Gillian Judson, and I'm proud to be the coordinator and supervisor of this program. You can contact me at Simon Fraser University if you have any questions about this program or about imagination in leadership. Take care.